Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King, and we'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, is a piece of God. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational, religious, spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being. By no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Jehovah, Jesus, Buddha, nature, the universe, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. We know that there is indeed an almighty being. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed almighty. Today is June the 27th, 2019. I remind you that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you that fact because this show is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. For those of you that are watching on television, you see the telephone number that's on your screen. That's 504-483-3336. I invite you to use that number. Call in and join the discussion. For those of you that are watching by Facebook, I invite you to type your comments in and join the discussion. If there's something that's going on in your church, your synagogue, your mosque, your masjid, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to let the world know about it, post your comments on Facebook or call in and share your comments. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to let the world know about it, post your comments or call in and phone in your comments. More important than what's going on in your place of worship, more important than what's going on in your nonprofit organization, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life. And I use that word literally, a miracle, because the God that I'm here to tell you about is still in the miracle working business. Is still working miracles. That's right. June 27th. 2019, the God that I'm here to tell you about is working miracles. So if God has worked a miracle in your life, post your comment on Facebook, call in and share your testimony. Let the world know that God is still working miracles. You know, there's some folks that are right on the verge right now, right on the verge of giving up. And when I say giving up, there are some folks that become so despondent they give up and not only shut themselves down from everybody else, but sometimes try to harm themselves or harm others because they have something that they're dealing with and nothing has been able to help them. They're about to give up all hope. It may be a health problem, a financial problem, a relationship problem. It may be something that they're going through right now that they have not been able to find help for. Hearing your testimony about how God made a way for you, how God worked a miracle in your life, helped you through some difficult times, that might be the one thing they need to hear that will give them hope, give them the strength to hold on until God works a miracle in their lives. So post your testimonies on Facebook, call in and share your testimony. You be a instrument of hope to help someone else. All right. So join the discussion. Brother Raymond, thank you for joining. Brother Malcolm, thank you for joining. Brother Malcolm, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, I encourage you, please share your testimony. Brother Raymond, if God has worked a miracle in your life, if God has worked a way, made a way when you couldn't even see a way, please share your testimony. Let others be encouraged. Be encouraged. Give strength to others. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Let's move on with our show tonight. We have the next part of our show. We'll have announcements. Then we'll go into testimonies. Then we'll go into religious spiritual study. And as always, Thessalonians instructs us to prove all things, hold fast that which is good. And our discussion topic tonight is the first mind. The first mind. That's our discussion topic tonight. The first mind. And I'm just going to, just a little brief outline. Just a little brief outline of what we're talking about is I had a conversation my understanding is that there's no such thing as coincidence. Okay? No such thing as happenstance. My understanding, my knowledge is that everything happens according to a divine plan. That God has a divine plan, a master plan for all time and all creation. And a part of God's plan for me included me watching television the other night and watching this channel, Channel 76, Cox Orleans. And I tuned into a show hosted by Brother Larry Hayes, Master of Social Work. Brother Larry Hayes, and the name of the show is Harambe. Okay, Harambe. And the brother had a guest, and they were discussing various topics, spiritual, religious topics. And one of the topics that they discussed was the first mind. Okay, the first mind. Now, I say it wasn't by luck, it wasn't by happenstance, it wasn't by coincidence. The Almighty had me at that place in front of my TV at that particular time, watching that particular show for a reason. And I can see that one of the consequences of that is that I'm here tonight discussing with you the first mind. Okay, the first mind. And some of you may have some knowledge about that topic. If you do, I invite you to post your information on Facebook or to call in and share your information. You know, we're all about sharing knowledge. Call in and join the discussion. So we'll be a very interesting topic. That's what we'll be talking about tonight, the first mind. Our words of inspiration will come out of the book of Exodus, chapter 6, verses 1 through 20. Our announcements, that's our main website there, and that's www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you to log that website into your web browser 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go to that website and you can see previously recorded episodes of the message. There are also links to all of our different social media platforms. We have a blog page. We have a Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. So you don't have to write down all those different addresses. Just go to our main website, and there are links to all of our social media platforms on our main website. Rock of Ages Ministries International, Apostle Ronnie Bailey. I haven't talked to the apostle in a little while. I'm going to have to give him a call so we can catch up with how things are going. www.ronniebailey.com. That is their main website, the main website of the Rock of Ages Ministries International. They also have a television show that appears here on cable access. The New Orleans Peacekeepers, that's Minister Willie Muhammad and the members of the Nation of Islam. They have organized this effort, and it's called the Peacekeepers. You don't have to be a member of the Nation of Islam to participate. You know, I have participated with the Peacekeepers. They're doing some great work out there, and they've been doing some great work in our city. They go around, and if someone is having a beef, having a dispute, instead of picking up the gun or some other instrument to try to hurt each other, the Peacekeepers do exactly as the word says, helps them to talk it out, helps to keep the peace. So in the New Orleans area, that's 504-500-1706. And the Peacekeepers is not restricted to New Orleans. The Peacekeepers are actually nationwide. Call 311-830 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for free smoke detectors. You know, this past week, actually I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, there was a major fire here in the city of New Orleans. And also the tragedy, I think earlier in the week or towards the end of last week, there was a fire that resulted in a little, I think, either 3-year-old or 8-year-old child losing her life. So get those smoke detectors. If you're in the New Orleans area, you can call 311 from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and you can actually get a free smoke detector. They'll come bring it out and install it for free. And as always, you know, man, we are here in the New Orleans area. We are suffering some extreme heat now. I think we're getting up to 93, 94 degrees. And it doesn't take but 3 or 4 minutes for a child to be permanently injured if that child is left in the back seat of a vehicle that's closed up in 93 degree weather. You know, so, you know, there are all kinds of little tricks that folks suggest. You know, if ladies, put your purse in the back seat. If you have a child that's in the back seat, in the child seat, put your purse back there, and that way you will make sure that you look in the back seat. Put your cell phone back in the back seat. You know, do something to remind yourself to look in your back seat to make sure that a child is not accidentally left in the back seat. All right, Muhammad Mosque number 46. Again, some more work that's being done by Minister Willie and the folks over there at Muhammad Mosque 46. They have a Saving Our Sons weekly manhood development sessions, and that's Mosque 46 is located at 4201 Diamond Road in the city of New Orleans. And that those development sessions, they work with our youth, our young men, ages 13 to 17, and they go into subjects such as conflict resolution, health and hygiene, respect for the female, financial literacy, team building skills, history, and more. And those classes are held every Monday from 7 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. And it's free, okay? Absolutely free. And that's Saving Our Sons. And the address is 4201 Diamond Road in the city of New Orleans. All right, this is, I'm not sure if this is Prostate Cancer Month, but there's a Prostate Health Education Network, Inc. is sponsoring Daddy's Boys. And Daddy's Boys is a performance, and that performance is at Southern University of New Orleans, and it'll be this coming Saturday, June 29th at 6 p.m. Okay, and that's at Southern University in the Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences Auditorium, and that's 6400 Press Drive here in the city of New Orleans, and it's free admission. Admission is free, and what it's about, it says educating through entertainment. With highly entertaining music, drama, and comedy, the Broadway-style stage play, Daddy's Boys, tells the story of a widowed father and his sons coming together through fractured relationships when faced with prostate cancer. All right, performance time 6 p.m. The doors open at 5 p.m. And just a little aside, okay, just a little bit more on that. Whether this is prostate cancer month or not, you know, prostate cancer it's one of the major causes of death in men, and it's sometimes a sensitive subject to talk about. But if prostate cancer is detected early, you can keep your sexual function, you can save your life, and no, sometimes it's an embarrassing subject to talk about, but it could save your life. And you can get an exam. The exam doesn't last but about 30 seconds to get the exam, a rectal exam, a digital exam. Now, then you can also get a PSA, which is a sample of your blood. Okay? And that little simple examination could save your life. You know, it's so many of our men, for reasons of vanity, for reasons of embarrassment, for all different types of reasons, neglect to have that prostate test. Okay? I have mine regularly. I'm not ashamed to say it, because I want to live. Let me tell you something. I want to live. I don't want to die when I can do something to prevent it. Okay? I want to live, and I want to live a quality life. Okay? So have your prostate checked, young men. Ladies, you know, I'm not suggesting that you harass the males in your life, but I am suggesting that you at least bring the subject up to them, recommend, suggest to them, discuss it with them about the importance of getting their prostates examined. All right, let's move on, see if we have any other announcements here. No, we don't have any other announcements. That's it. Let's see, testimonies, whether we have any testimonies tonight. No testimonies tonight, so we're going to go straight into our religious spiritual study. The first mind. Okay, the first mind. Now, when as I said, when I was watching television and I saw Brother Hayes and his guest, and they were speaking about the first mind, and as the Spirit moved me, I gave Brother Hayes a call, let him know, well, look, I was watching the show, and the Spirit has moved me to pick up on that topic on our show. And as I researched it, there are some interesting things that I came across. And I'm going to share, there's a video clip I'm getting ready to share with you. And it's a video clip that's relating to science. Okay? Science and engineering. Okay? Science and engineering. So the first mind, what does the first mind and the topic of the first mind have to do with science and engineering? Okay, so let's move on. Apostle Bailey, thank you for joining us. And if there's something that's going on, Apostle Bailey, thank you for joining on Facebook. And if you have an event that's coming up, please post your comment on Facebook, and I can make sure I make that announcement over the air. And I'm going to be giving you a call, so that I, invite myself, or at least open up to that standing invitation that you've given me to appear on your show. So post your comments, Pastor Bailey or Apostle Bailey. I'm looking forward to making that announcement on the air. Again, the first mind, and this is a clip, okay? And I'm going to tie all this in just a minute, but the first mind. Little here, all right, but you see the man there is a scientist, and he's speaking about drones. All right, and you see,
and landing now.
All right, now I'm gonna take a few minutes, okay, and I really, this is about 3 pages long, but I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna read it just to give us a little bit of understanding. Now, what you saw just now Okay, that wasn't science fiction. It wasn't trick photography. These were actually students at the University of South Florida that were controlling drones, okay, those little aircrafts, controlling drones with their brains. Okay? They didn't have a joystick controlling the drones. They were controlling the drones with their brains. So when you saw the drone lifting up, when you saw it going down, when you saw it going forward, making turns, all that was through the brain power. And you saw that they had a little headband on, and what that headband did, and I'm going to read it out because it's a little bit more organized, the information that I got offline. But again, let me just read it. Okay, drone pilots typically propel their aircraft by making delicate course corrections by hand. But this weekend, students at the University of South Florida will show the public how they can fly drones using only their mind. Students will race each other to determine who can make their drone go the furthest. How is it done? Through brain-computer interface technology. And when you start researching this stuff, you see it says BCI, brain-computer interface technology. First, competitors wear electronic headbands known as electroencephalography systems, EEG, which capture, now this is the part right here, which capture electrical brain signals. Okay? EEG. We've talked about this on this show. We've talked about how your brain operates through synapses, electrical currents, and those electrical currents travels through neurons and travels through your body and your muscles, and that's how you control your body. But we've talked about those electrical impulses inside our brain. They're not confined to the brain. They're not locked up inside your head. They actually come outside your head. And here we see these scientists have developed, and again, the EEG, that's nothing new. That's old technology. Okay? Put the headband, the EEG, picks up the electrical impulses coming out of your head, amplifies it, magnifies it, turns it into computer code, and then sends that to the drone. So the signal that's coming out of your head is being reinterpreted by the headband and then sent out to the drone. Okay? Now, one of the things that we've talked about on the show years ago is that is concrete evidence that our brain waves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week are popping out of our head. Okay, that's pure science. It's not, it's not any make-believe. It's science. And now we see how those brain waves can be manipulated by this headband to communicate with the drone. Now, one of the things that we've talked about on this show is the same way that those brain waves are picked up by that headband, those brain waves are picked up by each and every last one of us. Each and every last human being is a transmitter and a receiver of those brain waves. So every last one of us, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, are plugged into this brain internet. We can't escape it. That's who we are. We all are part of this network. And there are some of us whose signal is a little bit stronger And some of us whose signal is a little bit clearer, but every last one of us are connected to that network. That's science. Understand what I'm saying? That is science. It's not religion. It's not spirituality. It's science. But let me hold on a second. It is religion. Throughout the major religions, it speaks about the oneness, how we're all connected. Spirituality speaks about the one spirit. So what? It is science, religion, and spirituality all rolled into one. So when we start getting deep into science, we start realizing exactly who we are. Look, at the beginning of the show, what I said, everything that ever was, is now, ever will be, is a piece of God. It's a piece of one. Everything. Everything is a piece of the one. And what these students are doing, what these scientists, these neuroscientists, what they're doing is they are just explaining to us our true nature, what we truly really are. Okay, now that's all this is going to tie into the one mind. Understand? We're going to go a little bit further. All right. First, okay, we just read, look what it says. First, competitors wear electronic headbands. We just read that. Okay, those signals are then translated into commands that prompt the drones to move based on a specific thought. So the drones are moving based upon a specific thought. So I'm just thinking it. Rise up higher, drone. Go lower, drone. Go to the left, go to the right. Slow down, drone. Back up, drone. When you imagine a movement, your brain produces the same electrical activity as if you were performing the movement with your muscles. An assistant professor in the College of Engineering at USF said in a release statement, "For drone racing, we have our pilots imagine they're pushing an object forward. Then we capture that signal, classify it, and send the information to the drone, which has already been programmed to move when it receives that data." Okay, while the idea of piloting a drone, right, Brother Robert, thank you for joining us. While the idea of piloting a drone with your mind may sound like science fiction, it's really just a combination of neuroscience and computer science. The underlying technology is part of a much larger field of study into brain-computer interfaces, BCI, a term first coined in the 1970s. So we're talking about technology and science that's almost 50 years old. BCIs are devices that create a pathway between the brain and an external device, such as a drone, computer, or prosthetic limb. BCI technology reads the brain's electrical signals to function. Every time we think about something or move a muscle, the neurons in our brain send electrical signals to one another. Didn't I just say about neurons? Through technological advances and the development of wearable EEG systems, scientists are able to detect and interpret these signals. By doing so, they can then translate the electrical signals into commands for external devices. It's pretty incredible to think about what's possible when you combine biology and neuroscience with technology. And for more information or this article that I'm reading that's online, you can go to http://news.usf.edu/article/templates. And if you didn't get all that information, then just give me a call and you can find it, or actually you just go on the internet and type in BCI or drones, flying drones using the brain. Okay, just type that in. All right, now this is what we read just now, or what I read just now, was talking about using the brain to communicate with a drone, or as it said here, with prosthetics, all different types of applications. But look at this is another article now. Okay, this is another article. Now listen to this one right here. University of Washington researchers. So these are academics. This is no foolishness. These are scientists. Okay? University of Washington researchers have performed what they believe is the first non-invasive human-to-human brain interface, with one researcher able to send a brain signal via the internet to control the hand motions of a fellow researcher. I'm going to read that again. Okay? Human-to-human brain interface, with one researcher able to send a brain signal via the internet to control the hand motions of a fellow researcher. Okay, so let me go into this a little bit deeper. Using electrical brain recordings and a form of magnetic stimulation, Rajesh Rao sent a brain signal to Andrea Stocco on the other side of the University of Washington campus, causing Stocco's finger to move on a keyboard. While researchers at Duke University have demonstrated brain-to-brain communications between two rats, and Harvard researchers have demonstrated between a human and a rat, Rao and Stocco believe this is the first demonstration of human-to-human brain interfacing. The internet was a way to connect computers, and now it can be a way to connect brains, Stocco said. We want to take the knowledge of a brain and transmit it directly from brain to brain. Okay, now look, this is what they did. On August 12th, Rao sat in his lab wearing a cap with electrodes. Okay, we talked about that other experiment with the drones, hooked up to an electroencephalography machine, an EEG machine, which reads electrical activity in the brain. Stocco was in his lab across campus wearing a purple swim cap marked with the stimulation site for the transcranial magnetic stimulation coil that was placed directly over his left motor cortex, which controls hand movement. The team had a Skype connection set up so the two labs could coordinate, though neither Rao nor Stocco could see the Skype screens. Rao looked at a computer screen and played a simple video game with his mind. When he was supposed to fire a cannon at a target, he imagined moving his right hand, being careful not to actually move his hand, causing a cursor to hit the fire button. Almost instantaneously, Stocco, who wore noise-canceling earbuds and wasn't looking at a computer screen, involuntarily moved his right index finger to push the space bar on the keyboard in front of him, as if firing the cannon. Stocco compared the feeling of his hand moving involuntarily to that of a nervous tic. The technologies used by the researchers for recording and stimulating the brain are both well known. Electroencephalography, or EEG, is routinely used by clinicians and researchers to record brain activity non-invasively from the scalp. Now, when they say non-invasively, that means you don't have to drill into the scalp and insert any electrode or anything. You just lay it on the scalp. Okay, just lay that skull cap or just lay that little probe. Just lay it right there. You don't have to cut into anything or drill into anything. Non-invasively from the scalp. Transcranial magnetic stimulation is a non-invasive way of delivering stimulation to the brain to elicit a response. Its effect depends on where the coil is placed. In this case, it was placed directly over the brain region that controls a person's right hand. By activating these neurons, The stimulation convinced the brain that it needed to move the right hand. Computer science and engineering undergraduates, along with a bioengineering graduate student, wrote the computer code for the project, translating Rao's brain signals into a command for Steckel's brain. Brain-computer interface is something people have been talking about for a long, long time. And that's at www.washington.edu/news/2013/08/27. Researcher controls colleagues' motions in first human brain-to-brain interface. Okay, so now we have this laid out. Okay, we have this laid out that this is purely science. Okay, purely science that we're talking about. We're talking about the brain waves coming out of my head and bouncing all around. Brain waves coming out of your head and bouncing all around. And even though what we've been reading about are these scientists that are using EEGs to capture those brain waves and then interpret them within computer codes to send them to a drone or to send them to another human, the bottom line is that those brain waves are coming out. And the bottom line is that those brain waves are being received by us the same way we send them out. We're receiving them. So even though we can't see it, there's that connection between us. That connection. It's a physical connection, electrical connection. Those waves, we're all part of the same net. And as I said earlier, some of us, our transmitting powers are more advanced. Some of us, our receiving powers are more advanced. Now, how that ties in with our topic tonight. Okay, our topic tonight, the first mind. Okay, the first mind. Okay, so now that we have the understanding that all of us, every single last one of us, are walking around with information coming out and information coming in. We might not be aware of it, but it's going out and it's coming in. Okay, so with that understanding, having that knowledge, and we talk about the first mind, have you ever, let me ask you something, Brother Tainab up there in North Carolina, Messenger Tainab up there in North Carolina with our society chapter in North Carolina. Good evening, Brother Peace. Brother Tainab, have you ever yourself said, man, I should have stuck with my first mind? Or man, my first mind told me such and such. Well, you made a decision. And after you made the decision, you say, oh, you might have decided to go to the store where you was thinking about staying home. You say, my first mind told me to stay home. My first mind. Now, what is that first? Wait a minute. What were we just studying? We were just studying about how all of us are connected to this net, this network. It's not an internet, it's a brain network that we have signals going out. So look, wait, hold on. If all of us are connected to this network, then that network is controlling the signals that we get. That network, wait a minute, controlling the signals that, wait a minute, hold on a second now, hold on. See, I pick up my eyeglasses. Because my brain sent the signal out, fired up those neurons, they were synapses, electrical impulses, fired up the neurons, and them neurons sent that signal through my nerves into my muscles and caused my hand to pick up these glasses. But before that action started, there was something that happened up in here. I had an idea, I had a thought to pick them glasses up. So now hold on. That signal that eventually was transmitted through them neurons, through those nerves, through the muscles, that signal that eventually was transmitted there, where did that signal come from? From the gate. Well, hold on now. It says that we walking around thinking that we independent, but actually we're not independent. Actually, we are all part of one. So if all of us are plugged into this network, wait a minute, say, what? God has a master plan for all time and all creation? What? God makes all things happen? What? The things that we think are our own ideas, our own thoughts, actually a byproduct, a product of that network of which we are all a part. See, God, and when I say God, those of you that know me, you've heard me, when I say God, I'm talking about everything that ever was, is now, ever will be, the one, the I am, the all in all, the universal mind, the creator, the created, the Alpha and the Omega. All right. All part of the one. See, I'm not going to be anywhere unless it's part of the Almighty's master plan that I be there. See, I might think that I'm standing in the studio right now because of my own volition, because of my own plan. I might think that. I might think that I had the idea to get in my car to come here tonight because of my own plan. But that idea that I had to get in my car, where did that idea come from? All part of Almighty God and God's master plan. And so, Brother Cecil, Sister Charlotte, thank you for joining in on Facebook. All part of God's plan. You see that oneness, that first mind. Hey, that first mind. When I say, man, my first mind told me to go do that. You see, I was tapped into that network, into that universal mind, and seeing in that network this first mind, this first option. But it wasn't part of that network's direction for me to go to the left. It wasn't part of God's plan for me to go to the left. It was part of God's plan for me to go to the right. That first mind, the original mind, the what? The whole mind. The one, the first mind. Another way to think of it, that first mind being that collective. And then when we start talking about our individual minds, our individual wills, being just that, the second mind. All right? The first mind, the collective, All right. All right. And that's something else I suggest and I recommend. Do a little research with that phrase, that topic, the universal mind. We've talked about that on the show before. It's very interesting. And something I want to do now, I did this last week, and hopefully I'll continue to do that, and that's to invite you to become a member of the Society of Knowledge. You hear me talk about the Society every week. The Society of Knowledge Incorporated produces this show, sponsors this show. It's an interdenominational organization. It doesn't matter what your religious background is. If you're Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, it doesn't matter. If you're agnostic, if you're atheist, it doesn't matter. Okay? You can be a member of the society. In the same way that we're studying this topic tonight about the first mind, no topic is off limits when it comes down to religion and spirituality. So we will study those. We have studied those. The major religions of the world, the major religions throughout time. Ma'at, ancient religion. All religions, all spiritual topics. If you're interested and you want to be around and be associated with a group of people that are receptive to sharing knowledge, sharing information about religion, spirituality, sharing knowledge, as you heard us tonight, sharing knowledge about who and what we really are, then come on, join the society. If you're interested in joining the society, you can give me a call. Give me a call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The phone number is 504-821-3221, 504-821-3221. Brother Courtney, thank you for touching bases with us a couple weeks ago, showing your interest in the society, becoming a member. Again, if you're interested in becoming a member, joining with us, and even if you don't want to become a member, if you just want to come and study with us, just come and fellowship with us, you're welcome to do that. If you are interested in joining, if you are interested in meeting with us, then you hit me on Facebook, and you can also give us a call at that phone number. You're welcome. There aren't any preconditions to becoming acquainted with us. Just give us a call. All right, we have just a few minutes left in the show, maybe about 15 minutes, a little bit less than that left in the show. All right, apostles. Yeah, the first mind does indeed vary from the second mind. All right, we're going to go and pick up in the book of Exodus. Words of inspiration come out of Exodus chapter 6, verses 1 through 20. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. All right? And God spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the Lord. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. Now, in those three scriptures, there's some powerful stuff in those three scriptures. Now, the first, verse 1, we read about that and we talked about that a little bit last week. And when it says, the Lord is talking to Moses because Moses has questioned God. Okay? Moses has questioned God as to God, why have you sent me into Egypt, causing all the problems for the Hebrew people? You sent me into Egypt, and now Pharaoh is mad at the Hebrews and mistreating them even worse than he was before I went there. And look what it says in God. Now look, it says God spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the Lord. Now I have to stop right there. Just for a second, I got to stop. Because it's saying that God spake unto Moses. Okay? Now, a second ago, and I was talking about the first mind. I was talking about the universal mind. I was talking about the I am, the Alpha and the Omega, the all in all. I was speaking about that. Now this is who's speaking to Moses. The first mind is speaking to Moses. God spake to Moses. Now, I'm not telling you got to believe the Bible. I'm not telling you that. That's not my purpose for doing this show. That's not what God had planned for me. That's not the work that God had for me to do. Okay? That's not it. We use the Bible, or I use the Bible, to deliver the message that there's an almighty being. That message of oneness, that message of there being an almighty being, that message is here in the Bible. Now, if you believe the Bible, and I'm not saying that you have to believe the Bible, if you believe the Bible, that verse, Exodus chapter 6, verse 2, that verse says that God spake to Moses. Now look at here. If somebody, now be honest and truthful with yourself. Okay, just let's be honest and truthful. If somebody walked up to you right now and said, God spoke to me, you might want to call the people on him. Say, look, man, this joker hearing voices. Talking about God spoke to him. All right? I'm going to finish up on that thought now. Just hold that thought. Now, no, I want you to think on it because I'm going to read something off here. There's an announcement. I'm going to read something. But think on that. If somebody came up to you right now and said, God spoke to them, what would be your reaction? Now, while you're thinking on that, Apostle, thank you, Apostle. House of Faith, non-denominational church anniversary for 2019. The prophetess Christiana Ford is the pastor. The speaker, Apostle Ronnie Bailey, Rock of Ages Ministry International, 21st year church anniversary, Saturday, this coming Saturday, June 29, 2019, at 7 p.m., and that's 1320 Elysian Fields Avenue. All right, and for more information, you can call 947-0026 or 504-613-7234. And if you didn't get the information, those of you that are watching or that are following on Facebook, you see it's posted there. If you're watching on TV and you didn't get the information, just give me a call and I'll give you that information. And my number is 504-821-3221. Thank you, Apostle Bailey, for sharing that information. Now, getting what I was saying, if somebody came up to you right now and said that God spoke to them, and that's an interesting discussion that I had this past week, that particularly after Katrina, when folks would go to their therapists, their mental health therapists, and say that their first mind told them to do such and such, some of those therapists, the first thing they would do would put some kind of prescription for some kind of drug, saying that, well, look, you're hearing voices. You're hearing voices, so you're crazy. Okay? Talking about your first mind. You lost your mind. All right? But the scriptures say that God spake to Moses. Now, if God, understand what I'm saying, if the scriptures are correct, and God really did talk to Moses, then why can't God talk to you? If thousands of years ago God was able to communicate directly with Moses, then why can't God communicate directly to you today? Now, my understanding, my knowledge is that, yes, indeed, God speaks to every last one of us directly, every day, whether we understand what God is saying or not, God speaks to every last one of us. The universal mind, the all in all, the I am, the that which is all things, communicates with each and every last one of us all day. What the neuroscientists said, that we all got these waves bouncing out of us, that we're all connected to this one network. And guess what? Science lets us know that not only are human beings connected to that, but every piece of matter that there is. Every piece of matter sends off vibrations, energy. All matter is composed of energy. So I'm just a big old ball of energy standing up here. Everything that is part of that big old ball of energy. Now, as I close out, one last thing here, and that's coming out of verse 3, chapter 6, verse 3. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. Now, what's so significant about that verse, at least in my eyesight, what's so significant is that it shows that, look, when we talk about God, the scriptures tell us that God done had all kinds of names. The scriptures say that God been known by all kinds of names. And what else is significant about that is, look, God is letting Moses know that God has been around since before Abraham. Look at it. Say Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Generations. God said, I've been around. I always was, I am not, and I always will be. And then look what else God said. God said, what? I have been known by God Almighty, not God some mighty, or not God most mighty, but God Almighty. Not some of the power, not most of the power, all of the power. God Almighty. And as I close up, it's my prayer that God lets you know that indeed God is talking to you every day, all day. Indeed, you are indeed a part of God. And my prayer as I close, may God Almighty in this upcoming week, no matter what you got to go through, may God bless you and yours with peace.